starting with the February 2024 Level 1 exam and then rolling out to Levels 2 and 3, CFA Institute has recently made 6 significant changes to the structure of their CFA program. Let's take a look at what we do and do not know about these developments as of the date of publishing this video in mid-March 2023. Timing is critical to your understanding of whether these changes will apply to you on your CFA journey, so let's start by setting the context. Level 1 has 4 exam windows each year. For Level 2, there is no February exam. Then Level 3 is available only in February and November each year. The new structure proposals presented in this video start with Level 1 in the February 2024 exam. Registration for this opens in May 2023. The first Level 2 exam run under the new rules will be the May 2024 exam, for which registration opens in August 2023. The new Level 3 structure will start in February 2025, with registration opening for that in May 2024. Just so that you can get a sense of the nature and potential impact of the 6 changes, I have listed them on the screen. There are expanded eligibility, removal of material from Level 1, a new practical skills requirement which applies to all 3 levels, the trifurcation of Level 3 into 3 different specializations, digital badges for those at incomplete stages on their CFA journeys, and the separate sale of a Level 1 question bank for an additional $300 over and above all the other fees. The first of the 6 updates is in fact old news. This has been in place with effect from November 2022. The expanded eligibility they refer to is allowing undergraduates who are still in their bachelor's degree programs to write the Level 1 exam, as long as they are within 23 months of graduation date. I have previously done a video on this. See the link in the description for that. Next, we have the removal of some topics from the Level 1 exam. The ones listed by CFA Institute as at the date of making this video are time value of money, basic statistics, microeconomics, and the introduction to company accounts. There are 3 main reasons given by the Institute for these carve-outs: to create space for the new practical skills content, to realign the curriculum size more closely with their notional 300-hour benchmark, and the perceived familiarity of most candidates with this material. The removed material, especially time value of money and basic accounting, still represents critical foundational and examinable precursor knowledge for the remaining curriculum. They are just no longer directly examined as they were before as standalone topics. I have listed the 2023 topics for Level 1 in the 3 affected subject areas. Although this is purely speculative on my part, I think we can make some educated early guesses about which of the 2023 topics might be headed for removal. In quantitative methods, it is clear that Topic 1 on TVM is out. I think that Topic 2 will likely stay, especially because this is a relatively new reading and a very good one in my opinion. Topics 3 and 4, and maybe 5 as well, are perhaps likely to be regarded as falling under the basic statistics label and therefore will be removed. I would guess that Topics 6 and 7 are likely to stay. In economics, it seems obvious that Topics 8 and 9 are in microeconomics and therefore are out. I, for one, will certainly not be mourning their passing. The other topics in economics, from 10 through 15, are, I would think, likely to stay. In financial reporting and analysis, I think 18, 19, and 20 are obvious candidates for being classified as covering basic company accounts and thus being cut out. Given the importance in FRA at both level 1 and 2 on the differences between IFRS and US GAAP, I would think that 17 is likely to stay, especially because many candidates will have studied accounting in one context or the other, but not both. What will replace the removed content in level 1? As far as I can see, nothing except the practical skills modules, which we will look at next. Will the level 1 exam length change? I don't think so. It seems likely that it will remain the same as before, with 2 sessions of 90 questions and 2 hours 15 minutes each. The third structural change is the addition of practical skills modules. This is, in my opinion, probably the most interesting development out of the 6. To me, this makes a lot of sense in the context of a curriculum which is focused so intensively on professional practice in finance. Candidates will be offered a choice of modules as listed on the screen and will have to complete one module at each level before their exam results are released. What does completion mean? This has not been explained by the Institute yet, but they have confirmed that the PSMs will not be examined in the main exam and that there will not be a separate formal exams for the PSMs either. Presumably, they will come up with ways for candidates to prove completion and/or competency online in some kind of open book environment. I have previously myself written untimed online open book mini exams on selected topics in ethics in order to contribute to my continuing professional education record. So we know that CFA Institute already has such structures in place. As I look at the topics listed here, I have just a couple of concerns. The first is related to the potential perishability of some of the PSM topics in the frame of reference of recent rapid developments in artificial intelligence. I think that the 3-statement financial modeling in Excel module will age reasonably well, given the centrality of basic spreadsheeting skills in almost all financial analysis. With no further information provided yet, I assume that the Level 2 Analyst Skills module is focused on developing soft skills. If this is properly packaged, it should also have lasting value. However, I'm not so sure that the Python-based modules will have similar longevity. With recent announcements by both Microsoft and Google about their intention to embed powerful AI capabilities in their Office software suites, it might well be the case that the motivation for people to learn Python so as to automate any task in Excel, Google Sheets, or in any other program becomes completely superfluous. But I think that the Institute has demonstrated its ability to adapt to change. Presumably, the Python-based modules will be modified or replaced as needed to keep up with developments in the interface between Office software and AI. The other problem I have with the PSM proposal is a logical inconsistency. The Institute's stated reasons for removing some content from Level 1 is, in part, to make the volume more realistic within the 300-hour benchmark. But they have no intention of similarly lightening the load for Level 2. This is widely considered to be the toughest level in terms of sheer volume of material, and yet no allowance has been made for the addition of the PSM to Level 2. This puzzles me, and level 3 is also affected, as I discuss next. The fourth proposal is the trifurcation of level 3 starting in February 2025. In addition to the current structure, which they will now call the traditional portfolio management track, candidates will be able to select a specialization either in private wealth or in private markets. No specific content details have been provided yet, but I would think that the private wealth option is likely to focus on individual as opposed to institutional investors and would not simply be a high net worth track. Given the historical emphasis of CFA Institute on equity markets, I expect that the private markets track is likely to be dominated by private equity, with some coverage of other alternative investments such as private debt, venture capital, and real estate. It appears that at least 50% of the level 3 content will be common across all three tracks. What do I think about this? For one, I believe that excited assertions about unintended consequence risk is probably over-egged. As evidence, I present the chartered accountancy profession in South Africa, which some years ago bifurcated its qualification process so as to allow article clerks to train in corporate finance with big companies and not just in the traditional location with audit firms. In addition, for a while they had two versions of their final qualifying exam, one for the financial management specialists and one for the auditors. Both routes ended up with the same unlabeled professional credential, which is exactly what CFA Institute is proposing. In South Africa at the time, there was a lot of angry pushback based on assertions that there would be upper and lower class chartered accountants. But nothing of the sort has happened. To be clear, I'm not saying that all is fine and dandy with the accountants, but their problems have little or nothing to do with their two-track qualification options. Before moving on to the next of the 6 changes, I observe once again that the practical skills module mandate will also be added to level 3, without any sign yet that the examinable content load will be reduced. Again, I question the logical mismatch with the stated reasons for reducing the workload for level 1. The fifth element of the announced changes is to start offering digital badges for those who have passed level 1 and level 2. In other words, give these people tangible recognition that they have passed major milestones on their CFA journey, although they have not yet reached their final destination. I think this is fine, and I have no strong feelings about it one way or another. In contrast, I have major concerns over the last innovation. This is that the Institute will start selling an additional question bank to level 1 candidates. This contains 1,000 extra questions plus 6 extra mock exams. Purchase is voluntary, but I would imagine that many candidates or their employers will be both pressured and be prepared to pay the $300 asking price. The main reason I disagree with this proposal is that it gives oxygen to the question bank maximalists. These are candidates already likely in the majority who believe that there is a shortcut to getting their charter. They are not interested in learning anything, seeing the curriculum content as merely an inconvenient obstacle in their path to getting those all-important 3 letters after their names. So they ignore the readings and just do as many practice questions as they can find, with this total often running into the thousands. Those who take this approach are, of course, worse than useless as employees in a real professional context. They have no meaningfully usable knowledge structures, although they might sometimes get lucky in the real world if they happen to encounter a situation for which they previously answered a practice question. In addition to possessing chaotic mental constructs of finance based on brute memorization of old exam questions, they inevitably end up with many gaps in their topic coverage. These are certain to be exposed eventually under highly embarrassing circumstances. Finance is utterly unforgiving of fools and hand wavers. My other main concern about the Qbank sale proposal is its implicit bias against developing countries with weak purchasing power parity currencies. In South Africa, for example, the PPP equivalent cost of the Qbank pack is $773. But what do you think about these proposals? Do you agree or disagree with my comments? Have I missed anything? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks very much for watching.